Well, hi folks, how's it going today? I hope you guys are all doing really good and having a good day today. Me and Gibson are in the shop here, just kind of fiddling around with the neck that I was working on yesterday, the one that I actually had to make a headstock for and replace it. So what we're going to do here now is I have the no biting Gibbs. Come on now. I got to put him down. He wants to play bad, so we got to deal with him just for a minute, and then that's what it is. Okay, so what we're going to do here, guys, is this. Let me get the camera kind of straightened around here. I've got these two headstocks clamped together here, okay? And what I'm going to do is use a transfer punch. I got a whole set of these. You can buy them at Harbor Freight, okay? And what they do is this. There's all kinds of different diameter punches in here, okay? As you can see, there's pretty much everything you're going to need here. And what these do, you take the punch end. If you have an existing hole, say that's that size, this will actually go in the hole straight, and when you tap it, it will transfer the center punch mark in the center of the hole that we're going to mark. So just like that. Just set it in there, make sure it's right. I may even try the next size up, just because. Let's see. That's too tight, so we can't use that one. We're going to go back to this one here, and that's going to be the one we use. The headstock's a little bit longer on the one I made, I should say, is a little bit longer than this one, which is not a big deal. But what I'm going to do, I'll show you in a second, because the break angle is quite severe when this comes, your bass string comes through the nut. It takes quite a drastic turn right here. So what I'm going to do is lengthen this out a little bit. I'm just going to cheat it in that direction a little bit, and that will lessen the angle that the string breaks, okay? So, again, we just got these clamped together, and I'm going to have to kind of hold these as I do it too, so that should work out quite well right there. We're going to give it a shot anyway. Okay, folks, so I changed my mind and I actually slid this ahead a little bit more. So we've got a little bit less of a break angle when the bass string comes off the nut on the neck below us. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to try to hold this straight as I do this. I don't want it to move. Okay, so we're just going to go right down the line here. I'm going to check and make sure that's still good. And just keeping everything square as I go. This will get us in there really close, so this is the way I like to approach it anyway. Then you're not really guessing, and you don't have to worry about, pulling a tape measure and marking all these holes out. If you happen to have a headstock or another neck kicking around with a similar headstock, then that's probably the easiest way to do it. Okay, so we've got all our punch marks in here. Those come out really nice. I may just touch them again with a punch to make sure that they're seated in there good and I'm able to see them well. Okay, folks, so if you don't have, a headstock around to copy, this is the way you do it. Take a straight edge, put it across the slot on the bass string, and just kind of keep the same distance from the edge of your rule to the edge of the fretboard here. It doesn't have to be exact. You can kind of eyeball that and get it really close. Okay, so once you've established that, you should be able to look right down the rule, and you can see our first punch mark right there. So that's going to work out quite well. We're going to have a pretty good pull right from the bass string to there, the A string. It's going to look pretty good. They do kind of curve as it goes, but it's not uncommon for this type of headstock. So that's another way to do it, folks, and you can do it on, you know, either end, obviously, with a straight edge. You could also take a piece of dental floss or some string, take a push pin like you'd use to, you know, pin up a picture on your wall, and just kind of push it in the hole, wrap the string around it, and just run it through the nut and down to the bridge if it's still on the guitar, or at least just keep the same distance from the nut slot to the edge of the fretboard here. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. So if you have any questions, you know, that should hopefully eliminate any on how to line, you know, the string pull up for a new headstock with new holes to be drilled for the tuners. Okay, so I'm going to flip this neck over and show you what the spline looks like now that we put in yesterday. Okay, folks, so this is what we got. I still need to clean that little bit of super glue up. And if you remember in the video prior to this, this was actually it was a lip here. It was raised up, and I just decided to blend it back together. Okay, so here's our spline that we installed. Everything's looking pretty good, you know. Again, you're going to see a few gaps and cracks, but it's not a big deal. And everything feels really smooth and feels like it's good to go. So I think what we'll do now is probably get out the sealer, and I want to get this thing kind of sealed up, and I don't want it splitting and cracking and drying. So that'll be the next move here. I have removed the finish off the back of the neck here, and just kind of smoothed out some of the dings and dents that I found in it. And it's looking pretty good. This transition feels nice. It's not a big ramp or a big ledge there, so I think we're going to be good to go. Okay, let's get the sealer out, and we'll put some sealer on it, and that'll give us a good look. Okay, guys, so this is what I'm using. Thompson's water seal. It comes in a metal can. I just emptied the rest of the contents into this plastic jug some time ago. And you can get this at about any, you know, Home Depot or any hardware store should have it. So what I'm going to do here is just soak some on a rag, and we're going to wipe it on, okay? Not a real big deal. And you can see it looks nice and shiny, and that will all change here in a minute or two when we wipe everything back down. It's going to take several coats of sealer here to get this all locked back in and sealed up the way we want it. So that's usually my procedure. Now what I'll do next is I'm going to let that sit there just for a minute. A lot of it's just getting inhaled into the mahogany because it's untreated, so that's okay. We'll get that sealed up, like I said, and that'll help kind of control the moisture. And what we'll do next is just take a clean rag and just wipe this off. You don't have to go crazy with it. Just give it a nice wipe. And we don't want to dry it right out. We just want to get that wiped off. Now when that's done, there's no raised grain. There's no weird feeling. It feels just as smooth as if you would have put car wax on it. So this is what it's going to look like in the end. I also wanted to point out our patch was thicker, so I just blended each end in, and of course, you know, around where the neck profile is, I had to do some some fine sanding and carving there, but the reason I left that a little bigger, at least thicker, is because that's where it's bridging the spot that actually broke, and I wanted to leave a little bit more material there. It doesn't feel awkward. It feels good in my hand. You know, if you play an F bar chord, your thumb's kind of on the back of it, but it's not a big deal. And if it becomes a big deal, I'll just make a little crater in there for my thumb if I have to. Okay, so that inhaled that pretty good. That tells me this was really dry. It's been sitting around for quite a long time now, and it hasn't been on a guitar for years, so we're going to give it another coat of this sealer and just let that kind of soak in, same as we did before. I'm even going to get down on the heel, and we'll hit the back of the headstock here. I'm not doing the front right yet because there's still some work that needs to be done on the front side. I really didn't need to do this right this second. I could have addressed a few more issues, but while we're right on camera, I wanted to at least show you guys this technique. And like I said before, this is going to take a few applications before I get this, you know, to the desired effect. When it's all said and done, it will just look like a finished neck, kind of like a satin, maybe, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's not going to have a real high gloss sheen to it, okay? But it doesn't feel like bare wood either. It feels nice and smooth, and again, it's just sealing out some of the grains in the wood and keeping it from just taking in too much moisture or not enough moisture. So that's pretty much the nuts and bolts to this. Again, this was a tricky repair. You know, this come in without a headstock. I had to actually make the headstock, so it was a little tricky. I did all the cuts mostly on a table saw, and you know, I buffed this away with some sanding discs and just made the profile, the neck like that. This was done with a grinder. I just kind of get in there with a grinder before I put it on. You know, I just held it up and marked where the truss rod was and just grooved out a thing. The truss rod cover will definitely cover it. I'm probably going to end up making one anyway, so it'll work out just fine. So at the end of the day, this is the repair that we have. I don't think it looks too bad. This is my first spline job, overlay patch job on a headstock. I've glued them back together before, but I've never actually addressed a break like this or actually repaired one that was missing the headstock. So at the end of the day, I think it came out okay. You know, the fit and finish looks as good as it can, I think. And it feels good in the hand. That's the big thing. I did take the nut off. There was a few cracks that I didn't get initially when I tacked the headstock on. In fear of super gluing the truss rod, you know, it's just common sense. So I did knock the nut off a little while ago, earlier this morning, I should say, and just put some more drops of super glue in there. Not a ton, just enough to go in the cracks and let it kind of run down in. And I pushed it down in with a toothpick. You know, again, trying not to get it on the truss rod here. So I think the next move is going to be probably clean this fretboard up. It's pretty nasty, and I'm probably gonna seal it too while I'm right there. Again, it's not like it's gloss finish or anything like that. It's just really light kind of polish to it, okay? So again, now once I get this all polished back, you're never gonna know that I did this, okay? It's just something I've been meaning to try. I'm not going to put this on any of my guitars that, that I collect or anything. This has all been just basically a big experiment here, trying to just see if I could actually do this and pull it off. I've never had the chance to actually perform something like this, so I figured this would be a good neck to practice on. And I have learned a lot by doing it. So, at the end of the day, if I do encounter something like this, if something comes in for repair work, I'll have a pretty good handle on how to do it. And like I told you guys before, as soon as I get a guitar body, I'll bolt this on to a guitar and we'll try it and put it to the test and see what it's all about. Okay, so that gets rid of the old grimy finger gunk and all that was in there. It was pretty nasty. I'm guessing it had never been cleaned. And our next move will be to also check the frets with a fret rocker and make sure they're all level. And the ends could use a little bit of love. They're kind of poking out from being dry. And there's probably a few that have lifted too, I'm sure. So we'll have to address all that stuff too. But for now, that will at least take care of some of this nastiness on the neck. And as you can see now, that's dried. There's really not much of a shine to it. You can see just a little bit, right? That's what I like about this water seal. It actually, it just takes that hairy raised grain feeling away, and it just feels like satin. I really, really love the effect that it provides. So again, folks, I really appreciate you watching this. I hope this info is helpful to you. The next move will be just, drill these out, which isn't a big deal. I don't want to bore you with that. And I got to clean this up a little bit and put the nut back on. I probably won't glue that in until I actually string the guitar up and see where it's at. If I have to shim it or lower it, then I can do it at that point. And I figure if it is good, then I'll just loosen the strings up and put a little dot of glue on the front side of it. Don't glue it in the bottom. Just tack it to the end of the fretboard. That's all you need to do, folks. Just a couple little drops and put it in there and you're good. Okay, folks, I really appreciate you following along. And again, I hope this info is helpful to you. And, pass it along. Share it with your friends if you would. Like and subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, be good.